The castle loomed, a monolith against the bruised sky. Jagged peaks clawed at the swirling mists as if trying to escape the darkness below. Moonlight, fractured and weak, struggled to pierce the gloom. It illuminated the castle in snatches, revealing crumbling towers and arched windows like vacant eyes. The wind howled around the stone, a mournful cry that echoed the sorrow trapped within. Inside, a lone candelabra flickered. Its light danced across dusty tapestries, momentarily revealing scenes of knights and ladies, now faded and forgotten. The air hung heavy with the scent of decay and the weight of centuries. This was a place where time had stopped, where shadows lingered and secrets whispered on the wind. This was the domain of Lilith. Lilith stood in the grand hall. Her beauty was a thing of legend, a dangerous blend of grace and darkness. A black velvet gown, shimmering like raven's wings, flowed over her pale, statuesque form. It clung to her curves, hinting at the power that lay beneath. A cascade of ebony hair, shot through with streaks of crimson, tumbled down her back like a waterfall of blood. Her eyes, however, held the true enchantment. They were pools of liquid amethyst, rimmed with kohl and flecked with gold. They glittered in the flickering candlelight, reflecting an ancient wisdom and an insatiable hunger. Her lips, full and red as sin, curved into a knowing smile. It was a smile that promised pleasure and pain in equal measure, a smile that had lured countless souls to their doom. She was a creature of the night, a predator in the guise of an angel. And tonight she was hunting. A young woman stumbled through the darkened corridors. Dilara, her name was Dilara, though she barely remembered. She had been drawn to the castle by a force she couldn't explain, a siren song that whispered on the wind. Her mind was clouded, her senses dulled, as if she were walking in a dream. She was clad in a simple white nightgown, her only protection against the cold stone and the chilling air. Her bare feet moved soundlessly over the flagstones, her steps hesitant, unsure. Fear gnawed at the edges of her mind, but it was a distant thing, muted by the strange allure that pulled her ever deeper into the castle's embrace. She was a lamb wandering into a lion's den, oblivious to the danger that lurked in the shadows, and Lilith the lioness watched her approach, her smile widening with anticipation. Lilith watched Dilara from the shadows, her eyes gleaming with predatory amusement. The girl was so innocent, so utterly unaware of the danger she was in. It would be almost too easy, but where was the sport in that? No, Lilith preferred her prey to be at least somewhat aware of the game they were playing. She stepped out of the shadows, her movements fluid and graceful, and leaned against a nearby pillar. "Lost, little one?" she purred, her voice a silken caress that echoed through the silent hall. Dilara stopped, startled by the sudden appearance of the beautiful woman. She looked around, her eyes wide and uncomprehending, as if she couldn't quite believe what she was seeing. The world seemed to fade away. The cold stone, the flickering candles, the musty air, all of it vanished. There was only Lilith, her eyes burning into Dilara's, her touch a searing brand against her skin. Time lost all meaning. Seconds stretched into eons, filled with a pleasure so intense it bordered on pain. Dilara was drowning, lost in a sea of sensations she had never known existed. And then the bite. Lilith's fangs sank into Dilara's neck, sharp as shards of ice, yet burning like fire. Dilara cried out, a sound that was both pain and ecstasy, a plea and a surrender. Her blood flowed into Lilith's waiting mouth, a crimson tide that carried with it Dilara's life force, her very essence. In that moment, their souls intertwined, their fates sealed. One life ending, another forever changed. Lilith pulled back, her lips stained crimson, her eyes glowing with a newly kindled fire. Dilara collapsed against her, weak and trembling, her lifeblood draining away. The world swam back into focus, the pleasure fading, leaving behind a chilling emptiness. Dilara looked up at Lilith, her eyes wide with a mixture of horror and fascination. She could feel the life draining out of her, feel the cold hand of death closing around her heart, but there was no fear, no regret, only a strange sense of peace, of completion. "What have you done to me?" Dilara whispered, her voice barely audible. Lilith smiled, a slow, predatory smile that sent shivers down Dilara's spine. "I have given you a gift, darling," she purred, her voice laced with a dark amusement. "The gift of eternity." But even as she spoke, a shadow passed over Lilith's face, a flicker of something akin to regret. The thrill of the hunt, the ecstasy of the kill, it was always the same. And yet it never filled the emptiness inside her, the endless void that was the price of her immortality. The castle walls seemed to press in on Lilith, the silence deafening in the aftermath of the night's events. She gently laid Dilara down on the cold stone floor, the girl's chest barely rising and falling. Soon, very soon, Dilara would awaken, reborn as one of the undead. Another soul to bear the curse, another pawn in Lilith's endless game of seduction and despair. A wave of weariness washed over Lilith, a weariness that went beyond the physical. How many centuries had she walked the earth, her beauty a mask for the monster within? How many souls had she claimed, their life force a fleeting balm for her insatiable hunger? She was a creature of darkness, forever bound to the night, forever cursed to walk the earth alone. Even surrounded by her kind, she felt a profound isolation. They envied her power, her beauty, but they could never understand her pain, the endless hunger, the gnawing emptiness that no amount of blood could ever truly satisfy. It was a torment as eternal as her existence. The first rays of dawn pierced through the cracks in the castle walls, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the still air. Lilith, her face pale and drawn, turned away from the rising sun. It was time for her to retreat back into the shadows, to seek refuge in the cold embrace of the night. As she turned to leave, she glanced back at Dilara, the newest addition to her immortal brood. The girl lay still, her chest rising and falling in a slow, steady rhythm. The transformation was almost complete. A flicker of sadness, of weary resignation crossed Lilith's features. Another soul ensnared, another life forever altered. The cycle continued, unbroken, unyielding, and Lilith, the queen of the night, the mistress of seduction, was bound to it, her fate intertwined with the darkness for all eternity. The castle stood silent, a watchful sentinel against the encroaching day. The echoes of the night, of Dilara's cries and Lilith's whispers, faded into the stone, a haunting reminder of the darkness that lay at the heart of beauty, the eternal hunger that could never be sated.